Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Thursday, May 14th, 2026 meeting of the Ann Arbor Historic District Commission. I am Chairperson David Rockland. The time is 7:01. This meeting is being held in person and electronically. Public comment can be made in person, on Zoom, or via telephone. To speak during any of the public comment opportunities, please call toll-free 877-853-5247 or 213-338-8477 and enter meeting ID 965-3669-9762. This information is also available on the published agenda in the public notices section of the city website and on the broadcast of this meeting on CTN Channel 16, AT&T Channel 99, and online at www.a2gov.org/watchctn. Okay, now here's an overview of the sequence of events for each hearing on the agenda tonight. So first, Planning Services staff will deliver their report, followed by a report from this month's Commissioner Review Committee. Then the applicant will provide their presentation and answer any questions from the commissioners. At that point, the hearing will be open for public comment. Following public comment, the commission will make a motion and discuss the application. Finally, the approval from a majority of commissioners present will be required for a certificate of appropriateness to be granted. Let's move on to roll call. Ms. Thatcher, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Commissioner Rockland.
Here.
Commissioner Nisbet.
Here.
Commissioner Carter.
Here.
Commissioner Smith. Commissioner Kaplan.
Here.
Commissioner Ross.
Present.
Commissioner Calderon.
Here.
You have quorum.
Great, thank you for that. So now we'll look to the agenda. Do we have any additions, deletions, changes to the agenda? I'm looking around and I'm seeing none, so the agenda is approved as presented. Okay, moving on. Now we'll go to public comment. This is an opportunity for members of the public to speak to the Historic District Commission for up to 3 minutes about an issue that is not listed as a public hearing on this agenda tonight. To request to speak, if listening by phone, press star 9. And if you're video conferencing, use the raise hand button. So I don't see anyone approaching the podium, and we don't have anyone online. So now we'll close public comment for tonight. And E is unfinished business. We do not have any unfinished business, so we'll move right along to hearings. We have 5 hearings this evening, and we'll start with F1, which is 421 West Washington Street. And staff, whenever you're ready, the staff report, please. Looks like Mariana.
That's me.
Thanks.
All right. So this is 421 West Washington, which was built in 1894 and first appeared on the 1899 Sanborn Fire Insurance map, where it was shown as a 2-story dwelling with a 1-story rear bump out and a wraparound front porch at the northeast corner of the house. By 1908, there were some additional 1-story bump outs that were added near the rear of the house. But other than that, no major structural changes during the period of significance. The house has a gable roof, cut stone foundation, and retains many of the historic windows. There is a gravel driveway at the center of the lot, and then a garage with a gable roof at the southeast corner of the lot, which was built after the period of significance. And at some point, likely when the house was converted into a duplex, the wraparound porch was altered to create these 2 separate entrances that you see here. The site is located near the intersection of Washington and 3rd Streets on the south side of Washington and on the east side of 3rd Street. And the applicant is seeking HDC approval to restore the wraparound front porch, remove the non-original siding, and construct 2 additions, a rear addition and a 2nd-story addition on the east elevation. All right. This is the house. can see non-original siding. You can see the two different porch entrances. So originally this was a wraparound, and now you have one here and one here. But the bump outs and the footprint are shown on the sandboard. So these are original. Different view of the porch, which is going to be proposed to be reconstructed. We'll show you the drawings. Another angle of the porch, or one of the porches. This is the rear of the house. You can see it has a number of different bump outs. This rear porch was enclosed at some point, but again, this footprint was original, or at least from the period of significance. Another view of the rear, and then the foundation. You can see some of the non-original siding starting to come off. And some egress windows here, or just windows. Okay, here is the site plan. So you can see this is the existing house that is hatched just diagonally. Then cross-hatched is the proposed new wraparound porch. And then here in the gray are the additions. So it's a second-story addition right here on the east side, and then kind of a 1 to 2 story addition you'll see in the elevations on the rear. And then here's that gravel driveway, and then the existing garage in the back. So existing floor plan, just like this, and then you can see they're adding a crawl space right here to support the addition at the rear. So minimal change here to the basement. And then, bear with me, there's a lot of lines, but this is the proposed addition on the first floor only. It's just this pantry at the back corner. It is inset to preserve these corners of the house. And then on the second story, we have 2 separate additions. So there's this rear one that the crawl space and the pantry were built to support, and over an existing 1 story. And then on this side, just a second story addition with these 2 powder bathrooms. So front of the house, you can see the separate porches, and then a lot of changes here. So 1, removing the siding. 2, this becomes a wraparound porch, and then this is that second story only addition on the east side. East elevation as it is shown now. And then here you can see, so different parts, new siding or original siding. Then we have the wraparound porch. Then this second story addition only on the east side. And you can see the eave of the porch showing that it is an addition, the second story. And then same thing here, rear addition. You can see it's inset, it's lower. I can give you some numbers in a minute when I get my notes, but a lot going on. Rear. And then you'll see the siding change. You'll see this is the little 1-story bump out that's being added. Again, corners being preserved. Then the second story over here, and then another second story addition on this side. And west elevation, just that 2-story addition in the back and kind of the porch that you can see, and then the siding. So these are some of the photos that were submitted by the applicant. And then also here's a Sanborn where you can see, I believe this is either a 31 or a 48 Sanborn, but you can see the wraparound. You can see there was a rear porch back here. And then you can see these 1-story bump outs that create that kind of funky footprint. Okay, before I go, So the Secretary of the Interior standards, I'll read through them. 2, the historic character of a property will be retained and preserved, and the removal of historic materials or alteration of features and spaces that characterize a property will be avoided. 9, new additions, exterior alterations, or related new construction shall not destroy historic materials that characterize the property. The new work shall be differentiated from the old and shall be compatible with the massing, size, scale, and architectural features to protect the historic integrity of the property and its environment. And 10, new additions and adjacent or related new construction will be undertaken in such a manner that, if removed in the future, the essential form and integrity of the historic property will be unimpaired. Few guidelines. for building site. It's recommended to design exterior alterations to historic buildings or adjacent new construction that is compatible with the historic character of the site and preserves the historic relationship between buildings, landscape features, and open space. Also recommended to retain that open space and historic relationship between buildings and landscape features. Recommended to retain, identify, and preserve buildings and their features that are important in defining overall historic character. Not recommended to introduce new construction that is incompatible in terms of size, scale, design, materials, or which destroys historic relationships. Also not recommended to remove or radically change buildings and their features, which are important in defining overall historic character. For additions, it's recommended to construct additions so that there is the least possible loss of historic materials and so that character-defining features are not obscured, damaged, or destroyed. Also recommended to design new additions in a manner that makes clear what is historic and what is new, and to locate attached exterior additions at the rear or on an inconspicuous side of a historic building. Recommended to consider the attached exterior addition, both in terms of new use and appearance of other buildings in the historic district or neighborhood. Not recommended to attach additions so that character-defining features are destroyed, damaged, or obscured. Also not recommended to design a new addition that is out of size and scale in relationship with the historic building. And not recommended to use the same wall plane, roof line, cornice height, materials, siding, or window type to make additions appear to be a part of the historic building. For entrances and porches, it's recommended to design and construct a new entrance or porch when the historic entrance or porch is completely missing. It can be restoration based on historical, pictorial, and physical documentation. Recommended to identify, retain, and preserve entrances that are important in defining the overall historic character of the building. For wood, it's recommended to identify, retain, and preserve wood features that are important in defining overall historic character, such as siding. And then a few from the Ann Arbor Historic District Design Guidelines. For all additions, it's appropriate to limit size and scale of the addition in relationship to the historic building, and the addition's footprint should not exceed 1/2 of the original building's footprint or 1/2 of the original building's total floor area. Appropriate to design an addition in a manner that makes clear what is historic and what is new. Appropriate to place new walls in a different plane from the historic structure in a subordinate position. Not appropriate to design an addition that overpowers or dramatically alters the original building through size or height. For wood, it's appropriate to repair wood siding, shingles, trim, and architectural features. Also appropriate to replace wood siding, shingles, trim, and architectural features that are deteriorated beyond repair with components that match the original in dimension, detail, and texture. Appropriate to remove non-original substitute siding and trim and restore original wood siding, trim, and architectural features. Not appropriate to use substitute materials to cover or replace wood siding, shingles, trim, or architectural features. Okay, I'll go back to pictures and say a few more things. All right, here's a good one. All right, so the applicant is proposing to restore the wraparound front porch as we discussed. The existing non-original porches will be removed, their posts, the stairs, the roofs, etc. There will be a new wraparound asphalt shingle roof, and posts will be 7-inch turned wood, and railing will be wood with spindles sandwiched between top and bottom rails. They will be 3 feet tall to meet building code. The existing doors and locations will be retained. The proposed on the drawings, the porch base and stairs are proposed to be concrete. Because this is a wraparound porch and the amount of concrete would be very visible and would obstruct and impact the cut stone foundation, it is unlikely that the 1899 house had concrete porch and stairs, and wood skirting and steps would be much more appropriate, so a condition is included in the suggested motion. There are 2 additions, that rear addition that has the 1-story portion and the second-story portion, and then just the second story on the east elevation. The rear addition will be approximately 52 square feet on the first floor and roughly 234 square feet on the second floor. It will be inset from the corners, and the east building plane of the addition would align with that of the first floor, but the eaves would be retained, so you can it'll be clear that the second story is an addition. The applicant proposes reusing.
Can you repeat that sentence? I just didn't.
Sure.
Just read that sentence again.
Let me go back.
I'm so sorry to interrupt.
It'll be better with a drawing.
Okay, very quick.
But just talking about how this first floor roof eave will be retained with the
Okay.
second story.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot. The applicant proposes reusing the existing 6/6 wood windows on different portions of the addition. And then there will be also new windows that are clad wood with muttons that are applied both on the interior and exterior with spacers, and existing basement windows would be removed. Those are the ones that you saw in the photo. This rear addition roof that would be asphalt shingle gable, it'll be roughly 8 inches below the historic roof, and it will be a slightly different pitch and slightly offset. So the total height to the midpoint of the rear addition gable will be 20 feet and 9 inches. Siding will be hardy plank with a 6-inch exposure, and trim will be AZEK. All right, then the second story addition, just that east one that's at the center here, approximately 86 square feet of floor area. It's going to add 2 bathrooms on the upper level, and then again, the eave of the porch roof would be retained to indicate that the upper level is an addition. Again, the applicant does propose reusing some of the existing 6/6 wood windows that would be removed during construction, and then trim will be AZEK, the asphalt shingle roof, and again, hardy plank siding with a 6-inch exposure, and it will also be below the historic roof peak. Both of these additions would not meet the 50%. It's a 7% footprint increase and 27 floor area increase, so no concerns there. And then the applicant proposes to remove their non-original siding. From the drawings, the proposal is to wrap the house in hardy plank. While that's appropriate for additions, it's not appropriate for the historic house. Neither is AZEK trim. So a condition is included in the suggested motion that when the non-original siding is removed, the wood siding and trim beneath it will be restored or replaced with matching materials and dimensions only where deteriorated beyond repair. And if an area of siding greater than 10% of any elevation is deteriorated beyond repair, a new certificate of appropriateness will be needed, approved by staff. So that's a lot. Overall, staff believes that the restoration of the porch and the removal of the non-original siding would be a great improvement to the house, and with the suggested conditions would meet the Secretary of the Interior standards. The staff finds the design of the proposed rear addition to be appropriate. It has a simple design, it's sufficiently differentiated from the historic house, and would have minimal impact on historic materials, and would be minimally visible from the right-of-way. Materials are appropriate, though I will note that staff has general hesitations about reusing historic windows in new locations, even if the addition is differentiated from the historic house as a whole. Staff does have concerns about the proposed second-story east addition. Though the proposed materials are appropriate, the square footage is small and it is lower than the historic roof line. It will be very visible from the right-of-way. That east elevation is not inconspicuous, and the addition would change the general profile of the house from a gable fronter to an upright and ring, which would diminish the historic character. That's all I have to say for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mariana. So now we'll go to the review committee report. Let's hear it.
Sure. Well, so the second-story addition is something that's purely speculative at this point, so it wasn't really a major topic in the site visit. There was nothing you could see there other than to look at the house. We did spend a lot of time here looking at the front porch and the concrete stairs, and there was some discussion about whether the existing concrete stoop and stairs necessarily had to be removed or could be encapsulated in the new construction that they make. So if it was skinned with something that hid it, and then a lattice of some sort to be put in front of it. So that's just something to think about whether or not they do that. It's a lot of concrete to remove, which is what was, I think, brought up at the site visit. Other than that, I mean, we spent some time looking at that and looking at, how the front of the house is going to change dramatically when the porch is restored to the full width of the front. And that was about it.
Thank you.
Yeah, Commissioner Kaplan did a great job explaining the front porch. It's worth mentioning that the left of this building it is pretty visible to the right of way. It's facing this empty plot that used to have this vacant building that's now been demolished. If you're walking west from downtown, this is going to be the first house you see for the first like 300 yards, especially that proposed second addition, east addition. Anything else? I think that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Great. Now we'll get the applicant presentation. So would the applicant please come forward? At this time, thank you. Provide your name and address for the record, and you've got 5 minutes to give your presentation. So thank you very much.
Brad Moore, architect for the owners, 2232 South Main Street. Mariana did a great explanation, so I won't go over a lot of the stuff that she's already covered. I'll just limit my time to discussing some of the things that were brought up in the staff report and at the site visit. Our initial proposal for a concrete porch was trying to add on to what's there because we believe that trying to remove what's there would destroy or significantly damage the existing foundation to which it's become bonded to. But in our discussions of the field, I believe we found a way that we could infill with wood construction and then clad the entire porch in lattice work that would conceal the facts, and so we could encapsulate those concrete porches that are there now and not have any risk to the foundation of the house. So we are in support of the staff on that change to the construction. It doesn't need to be all concrete. There's enough distance between the threshold of the door and the surface of the current porch to put in a wood deck. So that's awesome. We'd like to reuse the windows if we could. Our inventory reveals that they're in good shape, and so we'd like to preserve those resources. We're willing to put in new windows in the addition if the commission feels that reusing those historic resources is not appropriate. But rather than chuck them out, we thought we'd try to reuse them. And with respect to the second floor bathroom, the current bathroom up there is what I call a micro bathroom. Somebody my size can only shower half their body at a time. So we're trying to make that bathroom area up there more usable for someone at least of my stature. And we're adding a bedroom in keeping with the goal that the city has put out there to add more neighbors to the city. So we think we can accommodate more occupants by having another bedroom, and that bath and a half addition is appropriate on the second floor. I will grant that currently with the old DPW building demolished, that east face is quite visible now, but that's a recent and temporary condition. Something will be built there, and that will not have the conspicuousness that it does today. It will become far more inconspicuous. The commission may be aware because the commission approved some work to a building at 503 West Jefferson, which, as happens, will have a form very similar that exists today in its renovated form. Will have a very similar appearance to what we're proposing here on this site. I had sent a streetscape view off to Jill and Steve this morning, captured it off of Google Street View. If you want to take a look at that, you can pull that up. It gives you a very good sense of what a finished product could look like, although we may not choose bright yellow as the color. And I have the owners here with me, and if you have any questions, we're happy to answer them.
Thank you. Why don't you stay there, because we probably do have some questions for you. Thanks, Brad. So yeah, does anyone want to start? I'm sure there's some questions here. So yeah, sure.
I have a question. So getting back to staff's condition and concern about installing the hardy siding or composite siding, on the historic portion of the house. Have you all done any sort of exploration to see if the original siding exists underneath the current?
We haven't done an extensive amount of investigation where there are corners missing from the shingles that are there. It appears that the siding is there. And my clients have not indicated they have a problem with trying to restore that siding. We don't know what condition we'll find when we remove it, but we're certainly willing to work with staff and figure out whether there's a massive need for replacement or it's mostly salvageable.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so that sounds like what I heard was that you're amenable to restoring the existing wood once you see it, obviously. Okay, and then
We were
can
hoping that the tornado might,
just easily remove everything for you, yeah. A couple blocks away, yeah. Okay, so then we heard a lot in the staff report about the second story that is going to be visible, the second story addition. So can you describe a little bit more about why you need that there? I mean, obviously the standards say put an addition in the back. The standards say don't put an addition on the side, but there must have been a reason that you put it on the side. You wouldn't have chosen to do that otherwise. So why don't we hear just a little bit more about, what was driving that?
there are several factors.
Yeah.
One, it's a very narrow house, and the plumbing is kind of over in that corner of the house anyway. And the structure exists there to support the weight of the bath fixtures and finish materials. That drove the location of that plumbing and the bathroom in general.
Okay. And then, just following up on that, it looks like the rear addition, it does look like you made it as small as you possibly could, but again, I just have to ask, on I guess that'd be on the west side, you're expressing the corner of the existing house. On the east side, just looking at the drawings and the plans and elevations, it looks to me like the east side of that wall comes further east than the existing historic wall, and that corner is kind of swallowed up, if I could say, by that and then the proposed second-story addition on the little bump out. And so, again, the standards say don't do that, but we get it. Sometimes, you have to kind of push us here, but we like to push back. So just, let us know what's going on there. Why did you have to do that? So we can kind of mull it over here.
Just based on the minimum room dimensions for the two bedrooms, those are small bedrooms side by side.
Yes.
And the cross gable element allowed for the camouflaging, to use a term, of the fact that the plane isn't held back, it's slightly pushed forward.
Right, okay. Very good. Just looking through my questions here. Does anyone have any other questions? Anything come up in the discussion? Or should we move on? Looks like we're moving on, so thank you, Brad, appreciate it. We might call you back up, but for now...
I won't go anywhere.
Okay, good. So now we'll have the public hearing. So now the public hearing is open for this item. This is an opportunity for people to speak for up to 3 minutes about the application here at 421 West Washington Street. So we don't have anyone approaching the podium, and we don't have anyone online, so good, we can close the public hearing and go to ask if any commissioner would like to make a motion on this application. Commissioner Elizabeth, do you have it there in front of you? Could you
Got it.
make that motion, please?
We're just doing it for the front porch?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
just do the...
One thing at a time?
Yes, it's up to you, of course. You can, if you're going to make the motion, you get to choose.
All right.
Yeah.
I move that the commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the application at 421 West Washington Street a contributing property in the Old West Side Historic District. To restore the wraparound front porch, remove the non-original siding, and construct a 2-story rear addition on the conditions that, 1, the decking, skirting, and stairs of the porch are wood and approved by staff before building permits may be issued, and 2, the original siding is repaired and replaced with matching materials and dimensions only where necessary. As conditioned, the work is compatible in exterior design, arrangement, texture, material, and relationship to the rest of the building and the surrounding area, and meets the Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitation and guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings, in particular Standards 2, 9, and 10, and the guidelines for building site, new additions, entrances, and porches, and wood, as well as the Ann Arbor Historic District design guidelines for all additions. Additions to historic residential structures, and wood siding, trim, and architectural details.
Second?
Was that you?
Yes.
Okay. For some reason, yeah, okay. So, okay, great. That was moved by Commissioner Nisbet and seconded by Commissioner Kaplan. I don't know, something echoed weird and I couldn't quite tell, but thank you. So we have the motion there, and then the first thing I'm thinking is we learned a lot from the applicant's report, and as made, is that all, like the conditions is what I'm concerned about, because there was conditions about the decking, skirting, and stairs of the porch are wood, but actually what we did here was that, yes, the decking, skirting, and I just wanted to double check. That does sound like that still is valid for what we heard, and we also heard that the siding, they're amenable to repairing and replacing the siding, so I think that we actually are good, which is nice. Okay, so now that we're past that, we can have some discussion on the motion here. I am curious to hear what the commissioners are thinking, because as my questions were saying, I do feel like this project is pushing a bit on the standards, but that's what we're here to discuss. So who wants to start? And we're just talking here, the way the motion was made, we're just talking about front porch siding and rear addition. So let's just chunk this up here and talk about the front porch. It sounds like a very creative solution to what we're asking for. It's reusing materials that are there in a way also. So I'm wondering, does anyone have any comments about the porch, or do we feel like the porch is following the standards and no issues? Yeah.
I mean, I think just the one thing to make note is that as old as the existing stairs are, they aren't original to the house. So the concrete stairs and steps as they're configured right now are not as old as the rest of the house.
Right.
So we're in that weird conundrum we get into sometimes where are we protecting the first history of the house, the second history of the house, and how they interact.
Well, we're here for anything 1945 and before, and chances are those stairs were after that, and likely were never concrete during that period.
Yes.
So
And
yeah.
that being the case,
Right.
I think that these changes get closer to what may have been there originally.
Right. And so it sounds like you're supporting the
Yeah.
changes. Yeah, okay, good. Anyone else want to comment on the porch? Okay, so then let's move on.
Oh, actually, I had I'm
yeah,
sorry.
great.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
So, and maybe this is more of a question to the architect, but, so if staff can pull up a photo showing the side, where there's where the porch will wrap around the current condition. So I'm just kind of curious. Yeah, that'll work. So there's the side porch with the roof that extends over the steps, and I'm kind of curious around like how the new roof will interact with that. What's going to happen with the little extension of the roof that goes over the steps at the side?
Yeah, so the extension that goes over the current porch, well, both roofs over both porches would be removed.
Gotcha.
And we would build a new L-shaped structure, which would cover those two doors and the rest of the L-shape. But the existing structure that's there is an original building, and we would we'd take off the soffit material and the roof over both of those.
And it's hard to tell from this photo, but are the header heights of the doors basically the same? So like when that wraps around as one thing, it'll be more balanced? Right now, that first porch looks so low.
So one of the things that will happen is, in order, I mean, perhaps you could do the front elevation, Marianne. The new roof line will come in just under the second floor front-facing windows. And as you transition that roof line around the
Right.
corner, that will come in slightly lower than the current non-original porch, but it would die into that second floor addition again, so that
Yeah.
second floor addition is hiding that
Yeah.
misalignment,
Yeah,
just like it's hiding the misalignment of the
Yes.
walls. So it's
yeah, it does a lot.
It does a lot.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Did that answer the question enough
Yes.
for you? Okay. Any other comments on the porch? Yeah,
Yeah, I have a question.
Commissioner Calderon.
So the existing side porch roof is 5 and 12 pitch, and the new proposed one is 12 and 13. So will you be removing the roof that's on top, or the roof eave that's sticking out on top of the east addition? Will that be removed as well and then replaced with a new eave that kind of like sticks out?
No, we believe we can maintain the current eave material. We'll take
Sure.
off the sheathing, exposing the rafters, and then we'll put in little vertical stem walls, studs to secure that rafter to the joist below, and then cut them. So we believe we can keep that.
Got it. So that'll be, that eave that's going to remain will be a
Correct.
different pitch than the rest of the
Correct.
porch? Got it.
And again, being hidden by the
Yeah.
cross gable on the bathrooms.
Great.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so anything else on the porch? Okay, so let's, absolutely, thank you.
Just for posterity, if you're taking off the non-original siding, you should see ghosting underneath that shows you exactly where the porch roof was, what shape it was. You'll be able to see if it was an awning, if it was a hip. That's step one. And the windows shouldn't have moved, so you should be able to put it back in that same place. And then the other comment on the front porch is that you've shown it with turned columns, turned posts, but the only way you can put back turned posts is if you replicate ones that you know were there. So also, watch your ghosting. There might have been a half post up against the wall that showed the profile. In that case, that would be great, and you can replicate that.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay.
Two excellent comments, thank you. Okay, so we're moving on from porch. And let's, so I lost the motion here, but let's just quickly talk about the reuse of the windows. So that's also something that's, it's not typical. We don't like to put historic windows into new parts of buildings because it can give a false sense of history if done in a certain way. If it's done where it's obvious, then we're more amenable to it. And can you point out which windows are the windows that are going to be the reused windows?
Yeah, it's essentially extruding the windows, so
Okay.
let's see. So like these two windows that are here would come out and be
Yeah.
in the same place, and then same
Okay.
thing on the rear,
Okay.
where this one is
Right,
on
so.
the existing plan.
Yeah, okay. In this instance, both of those instances are going into, masses that are well differentiated, I would say. So it seems like this is a kind of a better example of doing this. But I wonder if anyone has a different take on that? No, okay. Very good. And then, all right, so I got to go back to the motion here and just make sure that we've got everything. So I guess just the rear addition in general, this is a little tricky because, well, we talked about as proposed the porch, also as proposed the rear addition. If the side addition isn't done, then the rear addition is just hanging off the side of the building with an opening in it. I mean, obviously they could, as proposed, it just is making it a little tricky. I guess you could see it best in the floor plan probably, because it's kind of hard to see otherwise. But if you look at the second floor plan, right there in the corner where the bath meets bedroom 2, if the bath isn't built, you'll see the closet, like the back of the closet, there'll be, a few inches there of just open. So it is a little hard to have these conversations separately, but for the sake of the motion, let's just continue. And I guess the question is, the rear addition. So the rear addition, it's following the standards on the west side. On the east side, it's not, but like we heard from the applicant, it is, about as small as you'd really want to make 2 bedrooms. So what are we thinking with the rear addition here? It also is a bit, that east wall, I just will add one more comment, that it kind of overhangs what's below it in a way. So on the west side, on the left side where we're looking, I believe it's just following the new addition all the way down. On the right side, east side, it's an existing condition, and maybe we should look at the rear elevation for this comment, but it looks like it's overhanging a bit. So there is some, okay. It's not overhanging because it completely encapsulates that one story existing, and it lets a little bit of that one story existing come out of it so that you can read it. So, let's just say it's not the perfect application, but you could tell a lot of thought went into it. What do you guys? What are the thoughts here? Let's begin on where do we begin? The corner. What don't you like? What do you like? Yeah, this is I think it's, this is a thinker. It's a good application. All the information's there. It'd be great if there was, some 3D renderings, but, we have all the information we need here.
Yeah, it is hard to separate the two, the porch and the second story east addition, because, it's that addition that's making the back feel more conspicuous. It's hiding a lot of those connections you're talking about.
Well, can we see it from the east elevation? I guess what we're concerned about is, can we read? Okay, so, you can't read that southeast corner of that's just not going to happen. But is that, maybe it's there on the first floor. I can't tell without seeing kind of but maybe that little corner, the corner might be there on the first floor. I think we're going to need you up here, Brad, because there's a lot going on. But on the first floor, like if I'm standing, I'm looking at it, I'm going in the back door there, okay, on the east side. When I look to the right, there's the window 2. Do I see the historic corner of the house, or is that?
On which floor?
No, I'm walking in the door. So the porch. I'm under the porch there, and I look to the right. What do I see? I see the historic house, right? Like the corner of the historic house.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not there on the second story, but it is there on the first story.
Correct.
Okay.
And you wouldn't be able to see the second floor because of the overhang.
Well, yeah, I could take a step back and then look.
If you took a step back, then you would not see
And
it.
I wouldn't see it, yeah. That's encapsulated. You had a better word for it. Anyway.
Camouflaged?
Yeah, camouflaged. You said camouflaged. But I think I'm sort of working to the point here where you can see it on the first floor. So that corner is not ideal, but it is visible on the first floor. Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, I'm wondering if someone has comments. Yeah.
I guess, so just to recap, if we're just considering the rear addition right now, it feels like it would probably be a fairly straightforward approval because it is inset and smaller in scale, or does that not feel like a correct summary?
I would summarize it as it's inset on one side and not on the other.
Right.
Yeah.
So is that imbalance an issue? If we're-
It can be, if we think that it's destroying the historic character of the historic home, yeah. So I think what's helping me, though, after that answer was that you can still, once you lose that corner, it's hard to kind of get it back, but it'll still be there on the first floor. So that is helping me there.
Right, sorry, I was just talking about the first floor. Yeah, sorry, yeah.
Well, the first floor is existing,
Yeah. Right.
yeah, on this side.
Yes.
Yeah. Everything. Okay, so any other, Commissioner Ross, what are you thinking?
I'm still looking. So we're talking about losing that little kind of one-story, kind of the form of that little one-story wing that was present during the period of significance. By adding that pantry, is that what that is? It's kind of.
On the other side, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of impacting
Okay,
that
so,
form, right? So that's.
I was more
first story.
concerned, yeah, I guess that is another concern. Can we look at the west elevation to see what that looks like? If we have, I don't know, yeah, you can see it there. There's a little bit of it. Right, there's a foot of it, and then the roof line. So that's not totally lost.
Okay.
And then on the other side, you can read it. You can read it. I think it'll sit kind of awkwardly on top of it because it comes
Yeah.
further than you'd want that east wall, the second story, to come, but
It's kind of pushes past that kind of like eaves of the first story.
you'll still be, the eave will still, let's go to the east side now. The way I'm seeing it, right, is that the eave of the porch, you can read the eave of the porch, but not the eave of the first story there, but you can see it because it protrudes further south.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could somewhat kind of read the first story.
Right. I think so. It would be better if that wall did not come as far east as it does, obviously.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be talking as much about it, but it does. So yeah, that's the question for us. Does it come too far and destroy the character or not?
Yeah. I mean, it definitely is pushing an envelope. It
Yeah.
definitely changes it. If we think that form is a distinctive character defining feature, then okay, that's a little problematic.
Can we see the south elevation? Okay. Yeah, there's just so many roof lines that it just helps to keep going back and forth because your eye gets lost. So it looks like the east wall comes about halfway, or not quite halfway, over that porch,
Right.
is what I'm seeing, right? So it's not like it's right up to the front of the porch, which kind of, when you look at the elevation, you don't really know, how far forward it's coming because that roof is so low slope. But it's a good, let's call it 1/3 back to be, or 2/3 back to be generous.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Kind of like, little hat.
it, yeah. All right, does anyone else want to chime in with a comment?
I have two things.
Great.
One is, I do feel like we should talk about the East Edition a little bit before voting, because if we were to approve this one and not the East, I do think there's some weird design things that would have to be resolved on the rear addition. So, I mean, there's already, like we've stated, a lot of different roof lines and a lot of stuff going on, but I think
Yeah.
there would be some areas that would not work
It's a great point.
without it. One other minor thing that I think we should talk about at some point is just, since we don't know what the original siding is, just making sure that we have a note in, if either of the additions are approved, that siding is a different size than
Wait, if it's a different size?
Right, because we want to distinguish the original siding from
Right.
new.
And I think that is a good point, but also when it's, it'll be a different material, it'll be.
Sure, okay.
So I think that a lot of times that also is just a differentiator enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But good point. And I will ask staff now, because Commissioner Carter brought up a great point here. I mean, I've sort of come to the conclusion that, just like you have, that it's really hard, because of that east wall, and now we learned the porch too, like that, it's really hard to separate that, that other part. It seems integral to the project. So it wasn't part of the motion. Do we amend, if we think it needs to be discussed with the motion? We don't want to approve this motion and then, I guess what we're thinking, if we approve this motion and then deny the second story, we don't want that either. I don't think that that's a viable project, just based on what we looked at the details there. So do we add an amendment to the original motion? How do you think we handle that?
Yes.
Okay. And is it as easy as just, we've got a suggested motion there, would that, if that is read as an amendment or just added to, can that work as a?
Do you feel that you need to see it again if the second floor east addition is not approved?
Yes.
Then my suggestion would be that now that the applicants have heard the discussion, that you postpone this to next month if they would like to make those changes and remove it. Otherwise, you're going to have to, if you denied the second motion, you would definitely have to go back and say that they would need to bring revised drawings. It could be to the commission, it could be to staff, or it could be to the officers.
Okay, I'm half following that, but do you have a comment?
Without the second floor addition, nothing happens. It's an
Right,
all- it's-
that's-
For my client, it's an
Yeah.
all or
Okay.
nothing.
Okay, that's good to know.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Just had a brief discussion with him. If it was the commission's feeling that projection of the second floor would be more clearly recognizable as not original, we would be willing to change the roof form to a hip on that. So that's one possibility, if you think it would make it less prominent.
Yeah.
So just throwing that out there, that's fine with us.
Right.
We're not locked into the roof form.
Okay. You're talking about the east-facing gable, yeah, okay. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, we heard from the applicant, it's kind of all or nothing. We were agreeing ourselves that it was all or nothing. So I think we need to amend the motion.
Yeah, amend the first motion
Yeah.
first.
Amend the first motion to include the second-story addition, is what I was thinking. Right? Yeah. Okay. And I haven't read through the suggested motion, but if this is just added to the motion, then, yeah, I think we'd be fine. Commissioner Nesbitt, do you?
You just want to read them like continuously?
Well,
essentially?
I guess, can you propose to add the, to amend your motion by adding in the wording of the suggested second motion?
Second motion.
Yeah.
So how, can you walk me through the logistics of making that?
Yeah.
Making the motion?
Yeah, Mariana, tell me if this makes sense, but I think if you just change the first motion to say, remove the non-original siding, construct a two-story rear addition, and a second-story east addition.
Oh, yeah, that would do it probably, huh?
Construct a two-story.
Yeah.
Sorry, say that again.
Construct a two-story rear addition and a second-story east addition.
Do you see in the motion that you made, it says that wording in there, construct a two-story rear addition?
And a second story addition on the east elevation?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then just leave the conditions as they are.
As there, and read through the end.
No, you don't have to
You
read
don't have
through
to
to
read
the
it,
end.
just read the sentence that you're changing, it's fine.
Great, that's it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm not
That's
doing
how it's
any
done.
different ones,
Yeah, yeah.
All right, check me if I messed up here. Start with the I move that. All right, I move that the commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the application at 421 West Washington Street, a contributing property in the Old West Side Historic District, to restore the wraparound front porch, remove the non-original siding, and construct a two-story rear addition and a second-story addition on the east elevation.
Just say on the conditions.
On the conditions that,
Okay.
great, as stated before.
Okay, now we also heard from the applicant that we should discuss this, I guess, but we might amend the motion again to include that, the comment about the, instead of a gable, what was, it was, yeah, hip, thank you.
You need Steve's support on this.
Oh, someone needs to support the,
Steve's would be best.
Steve.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, so we got it. That was amended by Commissioner Nisbet and seconded by Commissioner Kaplan. Sounds like Commissioner Ross has a point of order, a comment, a question.
A question. Not to take it back to
Well,
the
let's
porch
get it
again.
right, yeah. What?
But, so when the applicant was making his presentation, he brought up the discussion around keeping the concrete, but just for the porch floor, but just.
That's not what I
covering it.
heard. Not the floor, the side. Well, the floor would stay, but there'd be wood decking on top of the floor.
Okay, so there'd
Yeah.
be wood decking.
Yeah.
Would the stairs remain as concrete or would,
No.
no, okay.
Wood
They
stairs.
would remain underneath the wood.
There's
they
actually a
wouldn't be
new set of
visible.
stairs. So with the way those two stairs point towards the corner of the house.
Yep.
The new stairs that would be used would be facing the sidewalk.
Okay.
So those old stairs they'd be buried in the new wood structure. You wouldn't
Gotcha.
see them, they'd be skinned
Gotcha. So.
and not used.
Yeah, okay, cool. So that kind of alternate proposal, as compared to what's in the drawings, is covered under these
Because there's a
conditions
condition.
that we're making
Yeah,
here.
that was the first thing way long ago, when the original motion was, I also was like, hey, and yeah, we checked that, because it says the decking, skirting, and stairs of the porch are wood. Right in the motion.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
That, okay.
Very good. Okay, so now we're to the second story east addition. We've got it in the motion. And so, yeah, so the guidelines state, I mean, can we see the guidelines here in, I guess I can just read them, but let me find one.
Is there one in particular? that
I
you're
mean, there's
thinking?
one that says that where you should put an addition, I guess.
Locating the attached exterior addition at the rear or on an inconspicuous side of a historic building and limiting its size and scale in relationship to the historic building.
Yeah.
And then considering the attached exterior addition both in terms of the new use and surrounding buildings. Should always be clearly differentiated from the historic building and compatible in terms of everything. Not recommended is designing a new addition so that its size and scale in relation to the historic building are out of proportion, thus diminishing the historic character. I think those are the main ones.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the big one for me, is the third one down on new additions. It says recommended locating the attached exterior addition at the rear or on an inconspicuous side of a historic building and limiting its size and scale in relationship to the historic building. So that's the big one there, that's why this was kind of separated out when we thought it could be. But what is the commission thinking on what you're seeing here? I mean, is it raising to the level of this doesn't meet the standards, or are we seeing this differently? Commissioner Kaplan?
I see
Yeah.
it differently. I think, one of the other guidelines that we reviewed here is talking about trying to preserve how much the size of the structure imposes on the landscape around it and the site size. In the case of this house, which is on the small side, in a lot that's on the small side, this concept is conserving footprint by going up. It isn't, I think, piggish in how much space it's taking. We've acknowledged that it's not trying to go anywhere near the max of allowable expansion in the form of additions. But rather than push out of the existing footprints of the house, it seems to be trying very hard to stay within those. But you have to pick one of those things, right? Even if you could program the house so that you were just extending the rear addition to accommodate that square footage, and it would still work with a new program of the house, you'd be pushing on another one of our regulations in terms of the size of the footprint vis-a-vis the size of the lot. So I think the applicants are in a sort of pick your poison kind of scenario here.
I guess that's a great comment. I'll just bring up now the roof line, right? So if we can go, was it a hip that was proposed, or was it a shed?
We would be happy with either form in lieu of the gable, but I initially said hip.
Hip, okay.
Shed would be another alternative. If it's the commission's feeling that by altering that roof line, it makes it less significant or conspicuous, we're willing to do either of those alternate roof forms.
And what would the slope of the, sorry, we don't typically like to design on the spot here, but
I understand.
we're already,
I'm just saying that the pitch would have the
Yeah.
same slope on the receding as it does on each side.
Yeah.
And then if it were a shed, we would probably try to match the pitch on the porch roof.
yeah, like a 312. Or 312 or whatever it is, something like that, lower slope.
Lower
Yeah.
slope, yeah.
Yeah, I think that if you want to propose like a 312 shed roof, that would be like the least inconspicuous, well, I don't know, maybe a hip would be too. But anyway, a 312, either shed or hip, that would certainly read differently and be less conspicuous, because the ridge would be much lower.
Right. But if it's still, I mean, it's not like it would read like that dormer.
It would not read as a
So-
dormer because it's above that bump out,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, thank you, Brad. So I like the proposal of the either a shed or a hip roof, but does anyone have a comment there otherwise or similar? Yeah.
I think a shed between the two, I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
please.
I think a shed, maybe, for the, making the space and, with the intent of having usable space under roof.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think a hip kills that space. It's harder to use the
It's-
space under a hip than it is under a shed, so
Yeah.
I think it probably does them more good.
Okay, so let's, I think we can imagine a 312 shed roof there instead of the gable roof, and I wonder if that is helping people, is changing thing, or maybe doesn't make a difference at all. So I guess I'd like to hear from someone who thinks this is not meeting the standards and that it's trying very hard. Obviously, we've said it's a good application, but it's just not meeting the standards because of this second story on the east side. Does anyone fall in that camp?
I do.
Yeah,
I did originally too.
yeah. So let's just hear both your comments, and then if you guys want to have a comment, and then we can go to a vote.
I could start. So,
Yeah.
I mean, when you pull up just those bullet pointed standards, I mean, I do appreciate once again that, that the size seems to be reasonable. But, it's just hard getting around that. I mean, it's certainly not going to be inconspicuous. It's not going to be hugely conspicuous.
Yeah.
But this is not inconspicuous, and it will change that, will impact the overall roof form, the historic roof form. Yeah, that's kind of where I fall. Flat, hipped, or otherwise
Yeah.
gabled.
Right.
Yeah.
Commissioner Calderon?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's certainly one of the more prominent features on the east side on a street that it's facing a vacant lot that has the possibility will eventually one day have something built up there, but right now it's the only house you see walking down west on Washington.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Conspicuous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Commissioner Carter or Commissioner Nisbet, do you want to weigh in on that?
I think I'm in the same boat. I would say I'm open to seeing what the shed looks like, but I wouldn't feel comfortable voting on it, say, without seeing it.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I would echo that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we've heard where we stand here, and I'm wondering if there's enough information that the applicant has heard, like, are you interested in kind of a redesign here and we could postpone it, or if not, we can just go to a vote. I guess we'd look for enough of a change. You've kind of heard where we all stand. I'll let you talk.
We'll take a table until next month, and we'll submit the shed roof.
Okay, yeah, I think that'll help us all take a look at it, and let's move forward with that. Sorry we couldn't resolve it this month, but we look forward to meeting with you next month. Thank you.
The owner has a quick question?
Yeah, of course, please, you have to state your name and address, please, and then, yeah,
My name is Angela Flood.
Yeah.
I live at 1204 Arborview Boulevard.
thank you.
I have my AICP. I am a urban planner. Our intention with the house.
I think go to the microphone, I think we can, yeah, thanks.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah,
And we realize the house is very visible. When my husband first proposed buying this house for us, I mean, I literally thought it was abandoned because of the way that it looks. There was a gentleman who owned it. It was in his family for a very long time. He passed away. His sister took it over. She basically just ran it, didn't do anything, didn't change the time, just lived there. Didn't live there, right? It's a rental. The stairs, the condition they're in, it's quite terrible. So when we talk about the visibility of the house, that is the visibility of the house. if you want to pull up the photo of the house. So the proposed plan with the porch, the not insignificant investment in restoring the siding, restoring the front porch, and making it livable is our plan and is our ask. The way, Brad mentioned the bathroom on the second floor is a micro bathroom that an adult has trouble getting into at this point in time. So, the siding is cracking. It's not in any condition where it needs to be replaced, right? The house can live there in that very conspicuous corner until the end of time in its current condition. So we would really like to make the house livable. Unfortunately, the east side is visible, and that is because there was that county building. As long as I have been in Ann Arbor, that has been an abandoned building, right? And that was finally torn down, and now we do have, so it is visible because there was a building there that was torn down. And now there's nothing on Washington Street, right, from the train trestle down through, past the YMCA. And so that's why, that's visible. We would put it on the other side of the house if we could, right? But there's no room because that's the lot line. It can't be put in the back. If we did put it in the back, then the addition in the back is visible to the east side because that's just what's over there, right? So it is our intention to put significant investment, with your help, to put significant investment to make that opening of that historic corridor beautiful again. That's what we would like to do. And we would like to live there, right? When our children leave our home and, we would like to downsize and live over there. So that's the level of investment we intend to put in the home to make it someplace that we can live, because we love the historic character. So we will come back here with a different roof line, and I hope that when we do that we can find a solution to this. So we would like to make it beautiful, and we would like to live there. So thank you.
Great. Thank you for those comments. Appreciate it.
One quick question, since I'm revising the drawings.
Very quick, yeah.
What's the feeling on the reuse of the historic window? Should I keep that as the proposal or just put new windows in?
You heard the comments. It seemed like there was no issue, so, yeah.
So you do need a motion to postpone to June 11.
Okay, we will postpone this hearing until the June 11th meeting.
But you need a motion to do that.
Oh, I propose a motion.
Second.
Thank you both.
Proposed and seconded.
Vote.
Thank you.
Are you going to vote
Thank
on the motion?
Let's vote on the motion. All those in favor of the motion, please say yes. Yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, say no. Okay. The motion carries. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Very good. We will now move on, after we catch our breath for a second, to F2, 311 2nd Street. And whenever staff is ready, you can give us a report. Thank you. Who's giving the staff report for this one? Okay, it's Mariana.
Just needed to sort through all of my things. All right. This is 311 2nd Street. It is a two-story vernacular house that first appears in city directories in 1910 when it was the residence of W.H. Barrows, a cooper. It is also shown on the 1916 Sanborn Fire Insurance map as a rectangular dwelling with a full-width front porch. It has a gable roof with a central brick chimney, and at some point the house was wrapped in non-original siding and the porch was altered. In 2009, the commission denied an application to demolish this house and the adjacent house at 307 2nd Street, which is extremely similar in design, detailing, and fenestration pattern. The site is located on the east side of 2nd Street between William and Liberty Streets. And the applicant seeks HDC approval to remove and replace 5 existing windows and to install 2 new windows in previously infilled openings. The applicant also proposes to remove the chimney. All right, this is the front of the house. You can see the porch, non-original siding, another view. And then getting into the side elevation, these are some of the windows proposed to be removed. This one, and then these 3 here, and then also the door. So this is the door, non-original, weird trim siding relationship. And it's proposed to be removed, and then I'll have with a half-light panel door. I can confirm that when I look at my notes, but an appropriate door. And then this is a window, this is a non-original window, and then it's proposed to be removed and replaced. I can show you with what when we get there. And then same thing, these 3 here, they're wood, but they're assumed to be non-original because of the pattern. They're probably installed during a renovation of the kitchen on the interior. Here you are, you can see also some of the wood falling apart. And then here is the rear of the house. So we have existing windows here. This one down here is proposed to be removed and replaced. It's going to stay the same width, but then go down a little bit farther to get bigger. Then you can see the siding has been infilled here where there were previously openings. So their proposal is to add 2 new windows in generally the same location. Another view. And then here's some close-up of that window on the rear proposed to be removed. And then that's the chimney, brick chimney. Other side of the house, nothing changing on this side. Okay, so this is the rear. Existing conditions, you can see this window and then these infilled siding areas. And then this is what it's proposed to look like. So you have a new fixed window here. I believe this is an awning here, and then a double hung here. So same width, a little bit longer. And then on this side, again, non-original fixed window here, and then these 2 casements and a fixed. And then proposed to be removed and replaced in the same opening, so same sizes with new trim. And nothing changing on the north elevation. Oh, I should have mentioned, there will be some changes to the porch. They are shown on the drawings, but they can be staff approved, so they're going through a separate staff approval process for the porch, so you do see some changes to that, but that is not a part of this application. So you can see that here, existing, and then some changes with the remodel, but that is not the discussion tonight. Some photos from the applicant. All right, I did not read one, so I will read it. From the Secretary of the Interior Standards, a property will be used as it was historically or be given a new use that requires minimal change to its distinctive materials, features, spaces, and spatial relationships. I did read 2, 9, and 10. For building site from the guidelines, it's recommended to identify, retain, and preserve buildings and their features, as well as features of the site that are important in defining historic character. Not recommended to remove or radically change buildings and their features that are important in defining historic character. For roofs, it is recommended to identify, retain, and preserve roofs and their functional and decorative features that are important in defining the overall historic character of the building. This includes roof shape and things such as chimneys. Not recommended to radically change, damage, or destroy roofs, which are important in defining overall character of a building. Also recommended to design, I don't think this one, okay, windows. Recommended to design and install additional windows on the rear or other non-character defining elevations if required by the new use. Design should be compatible with the overall design of the building, but not duplicate the fenestration pattern and detailing of character-defining elevations. Recommended to protect and maintain wood and architectural metal, which comprise the window frame, sash, muttons, and surrounds through appropriate treatments. Not recommended to introduce a new design that is not compatible with the historic character. From the Ann Arbor Historic District Design Guidelines, not appropriate to remove or alter historic roof features such as chimneys, dormers, and others. For windows, it is appropriate to retain and maintain windows in good condition. Not appropriate to change the number, location, and size or glazing pattern of windows by cutting new openings or installing replacement sash which does not fit the historic opening. For doors, it is appropriate to replace a missing original or non-original door with a design that matches the original doors remaining on the house or compatible new design that fits the style and period of the house and the existing opening. Okay, I'll go back to a photo. I have just a few more things to say. Okay, so we talked about removing and replacing 5 windows on this south elevation. That's the 1 second-story window and then this trio of windows here, replaced in the same size opening, and the windows are assumed to be non-original, and the top one definitely is non-original. Also, the 5th window on the rear, I don't know if I'll be able to find that easily, but that's a fixed window we saw that will be replaced with the same width, and then it will be a double hung a little bit longer. And then the 2 new window openings on the rear where there were formerly openings. All windows will be clad wood with 2 by 3 inch trim. Trim materials not specified, but wood or composite would be appropriate. The proposal also includes the non-original door that you can see here, removing and replacing it with a new half-light paneled fiberglass door in the same opening. The applicant also proposes to remove the brick chimney near the center of the roof, and it would be infilled with asphalt shingles to match the existing. I mentioned that the porch is a separate application. Staff believes that the replacement of the windows, the installation of new windows in former openings, and the replacement of the door are appropriate and meet the Secretary of the Interior standards. However, staff has concerns about the removal or alteration of historic chimneys. The chimney is very visible and a distinct element of the gable roof. It extends 2 feet and 4 inches above the peak of the roof, and at the longest, it's 5 feet and 6 inches in height. And it does match the brick chimney of the adjacent house at 307 2nd Street. The removal would not be reversible and would diminish the historic character of the roof. If desired, the owner could remove the chimney at the interior while keeping the exterior chimney stack intact and retaining the historic integrity of the roof. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mariana. So now we'll get the review committee report.
Sure. I thought Mariana did a great job of explaining the project, especially the windows in the back, taking the place of already infilled windows that once were there. It was pretty great having the sister home right next to it, because you had like great precedent of what the house, because that window had all the windows in the same places that are being proposed here. I really appreciated seeing that photo of the chimney in the wintertime, being on the site. Like right now in May, the canopy of the tree right next to the house completely covered the view of the chimney. So having seen it in the winter I appreciate that. It was actually very hard to get a good view of the chimney. From the back, it was very hard to see from the front, especially from the sidewalk side of the building. When you get a vantage point, the chimney was it was in pretty bad shape. The metal cap was falling off, and there's a lot of mortar missing in between the joints. Mm-hmm. Yep. Any other comments?
I don't have a lot to add. I think that the staff report was detailed, and Commissioner Calderon's comments about seeing exactly what was intended for this house by looking right next door was quite useful. So yeah, I don't have much beyond that to add.
Great, thank you both. Now we'll go to the applicant presentation. So will the applicant please come forward at this time, provide your name and address for the record, and thank you for being here.
Brad Moore, again, same
Yeah.
address. This is Tom Dowds, the project manager from my office, who's been working with the owner on this project. I don't think we have much to say about the project that wasn't covered by the staff report. I will point out, with respect to the chimney, Tom has a few things that he wants to say about that. But one of the problems with the chimney, aside from the more recent damage by the tornado, is that it's not a functional chimney. Back in the day when these houses were built, they had the old octopus furnaces with stoking them with coal, and they ran, all the time, and that the flue gases kept that masonry from descending into a temperature in the wintertime where you would get a lot of freezing going on. Now, since it's disused, that porous brick absorbs moisture, and then it gets down into the freezing, and it's going to be a forever problem with the freeze-thaw cycle tearing apart whatever repairs are made. But Tom has some other thoughts that he and the owner would like to express.
Hi, 875 Woodfield on the north side. So the owner wanted me to point, could you pull up that picture, the close-up that you had? That'd be great. The storm that just blew through recently damaged the chimney more than its already dilapidated existing condition. He's got concerns that the chimney is a constant source of water infiltration into the building, and now that the storm's come through, you can see from this image that the cap has been dislodged, and you can see the condition of the tuck pointing, well, the lack of tuck pointing in that brick, that the brick itself is just falling apart. It's in very, very rough shape, and he's concerned about its structural integrity if he elects to remove the interior of this chimney stack, which is tying up a lot of space for no effective use because now all the mechanical systems are modern. And the concern would be supporting that existing chimney in its continuing to degrade condition. And so he's asking for consideration that despite the historic element that it is, that in this case its condition is such that it would benefit the structure to have the chimney removed. That he wanted to make sure that that was expressed clearly. Are there any questions about that?
Chimney questions?
Specifically for the owner?
Great.
Okay.
What about, there was a question in the staff report about window trim. I think that it wasn't clear from the application, but do you know what kind of window trim you're going to install, if any, or is it just the aluminum kind of zip around?
What I was asked was, don't replicate what's there, and what's there is that very retrofit 50s or something J channel.
Yep.
We proposed 1x3 for the dimension of a picture frame around the new windows, and you mentioned that wood or composite would be acceptable. It would be painted, and we prefer composite as a more durable material. Obviously, the owner would like to do this. So if composite is acceptable, we'd prefer composite, but we'd be happy to do composite. We're not doing anything weird or substantial. The proposed 1x3, again, that's a dimension that's not the more typical 1x4, 1x5 wider picture frame, but it's also not the narrow J channel that we currently exist. I think it's about a 1x3 on that horrible door that's trim it below at the foundation and then just J channel, and we would just get a nice proper 1x3 trim around that whole door and clean that up.
Very good. Thank you for that. Any other questions for the applicant? Okay, Tom, we might call you back up, but for now, we're good. Yeah, appreciate it. Okay, so now we'll go to the public hearing. So the public hearing is now open for 311 2nd Street. This is an opportunity for people to speak for up to 3 minutes on this hearing. I don't see anyone approaching the podium. We don't have anyone online, so the public hearing is closed for this item. And I will ask if there's a commissioner who would like to make a motion.
I can do it.
Great.
Okay. Starting with the first one. I move that the commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the application at 311 2nd Street, a contributing property in the Old West Side Historic District, to replace 5 windows and a door and install 2 new windows on the rear elevation. As proposed, the work is compatible in exterior design, arrangement, texture, material, in relationship to the rest of the building in the surrounding area and meets the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation and guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings, in particular standards 1, 2, 9, and 10, and the guidelines for building, site, and windows, as well as the Ann Arbor Historic District design guidelines for windows and residential doors.
Second.
Great. That was moved by Commissioner Ross and seconded by Commissioner Calderon. Okay, so we're just talking windows and door right now, and we heard from the applicant about the trim. And so disregarding the chimney, does anyone have a comment here for or against what you see? Okay, I think there's no comments because it's rather following the standards as we would expect here. So let's just go right to a vote. All those in favor of the motion, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed, say no. Okay, so that part of the motion passes, or that motion passes. That part of the application's been approved. And would you be so kind as to continue for the
Certainly.
chimney? Thank you.
Certainly. I move that the commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the application at 311 2nd Street, a contributing property in the Old West Side Historic District, to remove the chimney. As proposed, the work is compatible in exterior design, arrangement, texture, material, and relationship to the rest of the building and the surrounding area, and meets the Secretary of the Interior standard for rehabilitation and guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings, in particular standards 1, 2, 9, and 10, and the guidelines for roofs, as well as the Ann Arbor Historic District design guidelines for roofs.
Second.
Great. That was moved by Commissioner Ross and seconded by, was it Commissioner Nesbitt? Thank you both. Okay, so now we're just talking chimney. Yeah, we've heard a little discussion on this already. The standard was read. The owner is asking for it to be removed despite the standard. So I guess there's, it comes to just a question of if you think the historic character of this item is, appropriate to remove or not. So I wonder if someone wants to kind of take a stab at this first, because I do think it will be kind of a question. But do you want to weigh in on it?
On the one hand, these look very straightforward and utilitarian as far as chimneys go. They aren't ornate. They don't seem like they were intended to be part of the architectural nature of the house. On the other hand, with such a simple roof line and a simple format of house, I think it is one of the essential features of the house that you do see and notice. And as Commissioner Calderon mentioned earlier, even more so when there isn't a lot of leaf cover. So it is something that you do see, and the fact that there is that same comparison helped us with the windows will continue to exist with the chimney in that there's a sister house right next door, and so if you remove something, it does start to destroy that continuity. Over and above all that, having something old on an historic house that needs repair shouldn't ever be used as a reason to take it down. That's kind of what we're here for, is to restore them.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree with that.
Okay.
Everything.
Yeah, I think I had a different take on this, but just, I understand what you're saying. I think when I was there today, I guess because of, the utilitarian nature of the brickwork, like if this was something, even with one little hint of an ornate craft to it, I would have a different opinion. Two, I could not really see the chimney. Yes, it was blocked by the tree, but even if the tree wasn't there from the sidewalk, I think you could see it, obviously, from this photo. You could see it from the sidewalk on the other side of the street, but just from the sidewalk right there, it's not very visible. And because it's like about 50% back from the front, or, it's not on one side or the other. Just for all those reasons, I just feel like I'm not thrilled about it, but if this is something the owner's asking for, it seemed like I would support it. I would not support removing it just because it hasn't been tuck pointed, or, if that's, I'm not supporting that part of it. That's sort of something I don't agree with, but there's enough going on that I would. So, any other comments one way or another on the chimney? We've heard from a couple. We've heard from maybe three. But any other, Commissioner Ross, do you want to give us your opinion?
I guess it's coming down to whether or not we feel this chimney is a distinctive character-defining feature of the building. So your opinion is it isn't really, and you've been out to the site, right?
I
Seen
did,
it in person.
yeah.
But
I feel like, chimneys are a divisive subject on the commission here, so.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, I've seen cases where we've gone either way.
Yeah.
I should have gone out to the site then.
Well, let's see some photos, and we can pretend that we're there. Or bring up, let's look at some photos. And while we do that, Commissioner Nisbet, what are you thinking here?
I can see both sides, not to be completely unhelpful, but.
I think we're all seeing both sides. We just have to vote one way or another in a few, about a minute here. So, we got to let's hear your thoughts, and maybe that'll help you decide.
I have to agree, it doesn't seem super distinct, and it is kind of set back, and it seems like some of the year it's covered. So it's not, I don't know, I guess I suppose I think Carter and Kaplan, you both made a good point about our purpose is here to encourage people to repair and restore and preserve. So I think I would lean towards that.
Could I put one more thing out? Maybe the way to sort of introduce a tiebreaker here, the thing that I think might motivate me off the fence. If the intended internal programming of the house is hindered by the necessary substructure of the chimney before it goes out through the roof line, is this something that needs to be removed right now because you're worried about it falling off the roof because it's not in good repair? Or is there a hallway that you are hoping to put right underneath it that this gums up the works on?
Yes to both. Yeah, the idea is, irrespective of your vote on this, we're going to have to find a way to eliminate it on the floor plans on both the first floor. Well, leave it in the basement. Basement doesn't impinge on, but it impinges on the floor plan of both the first and the second.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Commissioner Ross, you're here, you're not quite on the sidewalk, you're trespassing on the neighbor's yard. And from this side, in the winter, you can definitely see it. You see how far back it is, but I wonder if you have a picture on the other side. It's much harder to see, but not that it matters. You can see it for sure on that side.
Right.
This side, it's because of that dormer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can see, I think it's like maybe that little blip that's showing up on the roof right there at the ridge is the chimney. But so this side, very difficult to see. Other side, especially in the winter, you can see it.
Not that it's completely public, but there is parking lots behind these yards. The ground elevation drops like 2-3 feet, which I I found it harder to see from the
Right.
backyard.
Yeah, you probably can't see it.
I mean, this view, especially one house next to another, the brick providing a little bit of textural kind of interest. Yeah, I guess I'm more on the side of keeping it, because it's not like it's going to necessarily prevent the removal of the structure at the interior of the building. Yeah,
Okay.
so,
And
I mean, this view is kind of convincing me that it should stay. But I'm just one vote.
no, we all have to decide, and we're going to vote soon, once I know everyone's had everything said that they want to say. Okay. So I think Commissioner Nisbet, maybe you were on the fence, but are you ready to vote? Yep. Okay, great. All those in favor of the motion, which is removing the chimney, please say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, please say no.
No.
I heard 2 no's over there, 1 no here, and then were you a no? Okay, so.
2-4.
Yeah, it was 2 to 4 against, so the motion does not pass. So the proposal for, removing the chimney has not been approved. Okay, so I guess, follow-up would just be with staff on that if there's further questions there. And that is it for this application. So now we'll move on to F3, and this is at 217 North 5th Ave.
This house is in the Old Fourth Ward Historic District. It's a brick 2-story gable fronter, features shingles in the front and rear gables, a wood front porch, 1/1 double-hung windows, and small columns flanking the recessed attic windows in each end gable. First occupied in 1900 by the Baumgartners, who were famous because John was the manager of the Arbor Stone Company right around the corner, where there's a lovely brick house and Baumgartner's Barn, which is currently occupied by the North Star Lounge, was one of his places of business. They also had one of the first telephones installed in a house in the city. Let's see, the Baumgartners were there until the teens when the Pfister family moved in, and descendants lived there until the mid-1960s. A lot of work was done on this house around 2013, 2014. The HTC gave them several approvals to do work on the back and to install the shed dormer that you see here on the south-facing roof in the attic. And this house is on North 5th Avenue, north of East Ann Street and south of Catherine Street. Right next door to the south is also circa 20 teens house, new, and next to that is the armory at the corner. The applicant is seeking HDC approval to add a basement egress window near the front of the house on the south elevation. So when the applicant first came in here to talk to me about this, this is the window that is now proposed to be made deeper and to put a well around it. It's right at the front corner of the house. Their original proposal was to make a new opening a little bit farther back, because this was really the only place that they found that they could put it, they felt, in a new opening. So it would be in between, they'd probably have to flip these stairs around, it would be in between this door and this existing window. But since this is a lovely cut stone block foundation, that's a really historic material, and staff recommended that they apply for making this window deeper, and I said that I would support it because there wouldn't be that loss of historic materials, and it would only be a few feet closer, farther back from the street if it were in the original proposed location. Here's a site layout. This is, up top is Fifth Ave. The house has an open front porch. Here's the location of the door. It's about 18 feet from the, the egress window proposed. It's about 18 feet from the sidewalk. Back here, it's a deep yard, but we've got a patio, and then there's a concrete drive, and then there's an alley where cars have access to the concrete drive. This on the right is just a blown-up shot of that. It's pretty close to the property line, but there is room for a well that meets code there. Here's the layout of the basement. This is the window that we're talking about. There's a window back here, but it's right at the foot of the stairs going up, which doesn't really make sense for egress as a second means of egress. There's an electrical panel and laundry plumbing already back in this corner, and here we've got the furnace and the water heater and things on the, let's see, that would be the north wall. And here's what's proposed. They want to carve out a basement bedroom with a small bathroom and wall it off, and you can see clearly why an egress window is needed here. It's not going to go in the front of the house. Like we said before, it could go right in here somewhere, but that would be a whole new opening. Here's a shot where there are no leaves on the bushes to hide it. It's not a small window to start with, though. It's a pretty wide window. And I don't think it's unreasonable. They're not trying to pack 6 bedrooms into this basement. There aren't already any other egress windows. The house is pretty intact, and even though you'll see it from the sidewalk, there's no getting around it, but you would see it in either of those locations. And I do think it's reasonable in this case to save the historic foundation materials and not have an unnecessary loss of those character-defining details of the house. Mariana has already read standards 1, 9, and 10 to you. From the Secretary of the Interior's guidelines for building site, it's recommended to design new exterior additions or adjacent new construction, which is compatible with the historic character of the site, which preserves the relationship between the building, landscape features, and open space. It's not recommended to introduce new construction which is visually incompatible in terms of size, scale, design, materials, color, and texture, or which destroys historic relationships on the site. For windows, it's recommended to design and install additional windows on rear or non-character defining elevations if required by the new use. Such design should be compatible with the overall design of the building, but not duplicate the fenestration pattern and detailing of a character defining elevation. Not recommended is introducing a new design that is not compatible with the historic character of the building. For health and safety guidelines, it's not recommended to alter, damage, or destroy character-defining features and finishes while making modifications to a building to comply with safety codes. And from the Ann Arbor Historic District Design Guidelines, it is appropriate to comply with barrier-free and safety codes in a manner that ensures the preservation of character-defining features. So I think that this is the first time that you've heard me actually endorse a front corner egress window on a house, but exceptions, are made, and that's why they're guidelines and not rules. And I think that this one would be appropriate. Let's see, let me see if I missed anything in the staff report. I did put a condition on the suggested motion that the width and horizontal depth of the egress well are the minimum required to span the width of the wall opening while meeting code requirements. So basically the smallest well and window that you can put in to meet egress requirements. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Thatcher. So now we'll have the review committee report, please.
Sure. There's nothing to add.
Okay.
This was very straightforward. You can see it there.
The picture says it all.
Yeah.
Okay. Funny. All right.
Yep, I would agree. It's a front third egress window.
Very good. Okay. Thank you both. Now we'll get the applicant presentation, please. Is the applicant here? Great. Please state your name and address for the record, and please give us your report. Thanks.
Yeah, Sarah and Ryan Ball, 217 North 5th. We are the owners and residents.
Okay.
I think Jill covered everything. We just had 2 things to address that came out of the staff report, which was the existing opening will stay the same width. It will just be taller, meeting the minimum requirements for code. And that the well itself will be black metal, 36 inches wide and deep.
Very good. Okay, thank you for that. Does anyone have any questions for the applicants? Great, thank you. Okay, at this point, the public hearing will be open for this item. It's 217 North Fifth Ave. So this is an opportunity for persons to speak for up to 3 minutes about this application. And no one is approaching the podium. We do not have anyone online. So we can close the public hearing and move on to ask a commissioner if they'd like to make a motion on this item.
Sure. I move that the commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the application at 217 North Fifth Street, a contributing property in the Old Fourth Ward Historic District, to construct a new egress window and well on the south elevation near the front of the house, on the following condition: that the width and horizontal depth of the egress well are the minimum required to span the width of the wall opening while meeting code requirements. As conditioned, the work is compatible in exterior design, arrangement, texture, material, and relationship to the rest of the building and the surrounding area, and meets the Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitation and guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings, in particular standards 1, 9, and 10, and the guidelines for building site, windows, and health and safety, as well as the Ann Arbor Historic District design guidelines for windows and safety codes.
Second.
Thank you very much. That was moved by Commissioner Kaplan and seconded by Commissioner Carter. Okay, we have the standards, and then we have a proposal here that is, obviously, it wasn't meeting the staff approval, right? So a lot of these are staff approved unless they're like out of bounds. So this one is like, comes to the commission here. And so, it's a very simple question. Is this, there's just one question to answer here, right? Is this appropriate where it is or not? Does anyone think it is not appropriate? And if so, we'd like to hear why. And while you're mulling that over, I just want to ask staff, is there a name for the really cool attic window type with the two columns there? And like, it is what it is. There's no name for that.
No,
maybe?
we were talking
Yeah.
about it at the review committee visit. It's like a reverse bay window.
An inverse bay window.
It's an innie. It's an innie bay.
You lose space.
Yeah, you do, but it's really cool. Okay. Has anyone come to that conclusion? I think we should go to a vote then. So let's vote on the motion. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed, no. That was all yeses, is what I heard. So the application has been approved. Yeah, thank you. All right. So now, excuse me. So now we'll move on to F4. And looks like we're back in the old, no, we're on the east side of town on 332 East William. And we'll just have the staff report whenever you're ready.
This building is known as the Washtenaw Apartments and was constructed in 1925. It replaced a large two-story dwelling. It's a 3.5-story red brick apartment building with a stone base and trim, decorative stone front entry with Corinthian pilasters and faux arches, and 6/1 windows on the front elevation in pairs and singles. Building is U-shaped with a narrow center courtyard for light and ventilation. There are some interesting words from Grace Shackman for the Ann Arbor Observer on this building that are in the staff report, if you're interested. Mm-hmm. It's on the south side of East William, east of Hamilton Place, and west of South Division. The applicant is seeking HCC approval to pave a driveway and rear parking area with concrete. All right, running through the photos. This is the east side of the building, not the side that we're talking about, but you can see that it's really close to the property line there. It's just a walkway. This is the west side of the building where the driveway is. The most surprising thing about this to me is that it hasn't been paved in the past. but now they're requesting to pave it. And that's all well and good. You can see that there is a boundary fence on or near the property line. Neighbor's garage goes right up to it. It's a super narrow driveway, but it is what it is, and it's been there since 1925. This is looking from behind the building out toward the street. That is East William Street. There are several large trees, but they are all on adjacent properties. And quite frankly, I'll bet that when it rains, there's not a whole lot of water infiltration here because it's been hard-packed gravel for so long, it's probably not very pervious. This is the back half of the site. So the paving was begun here and with concrete, and then staff was alerted that someone was calling and asking questions about whether they needed permits, and they were told, yep, they need a permit, they need HTC approval, and they need a site plan approved. So unfortunately, this is a project that is probably much more expensive than they ever expected to get into. Yeah, but the good news from the HTC's perspective is that looking at aerial photos, doesn't look like anything was cut down, no trees were taken out. It's just been an empty dirt parking lot for since the building was built. You can see where the pavement ends right now. I took a couple pictures showing where it ties into the building. These aren't like egress wells or anything, but they're little wells for these garden level windows. And obviously it'll be continued around the corner here. Just another photo. Here's some photos provided by the applicant, and we'll get to a site drawing in just a second. There are 6 numbered spaces in the back here. So on the left is the site and surrounding parts of buildings. And on the right is the proposed paving area. Driveway goes back. It's 7 feet 3 inches, I think, if I can read that correctly. If I squint at it, maybe it's 7 feet 8 inches. Anyway, it's less than 8 feet wide for the entire length of the driveway. And then this is the area in the back that we were just looking at. I looked at aerial photos, and they're back to 47. It all just looks like a dirt parking lot. Nothing much to look at there, so I didn't even include it in this slideshow. So it's around 70% paved now. That's a guess. Parking area is 33 by 66 feet. And really, this should not negatively affect the historic structure or surrounding neighborhood. Staff is recommending approval. The section interior standards 1, 2, 5, 9, and 10 have all been read to you already. Just a few guidelines. It's recommended for the district or neighborhood setting to identify, retain, and preserve building and landscape features, which are important in defining the historic character of the setting. Not recommended is introducing new construction that's visually incompatible or that destroys historic relationships. Not recommended is removing and radically changing features of the setting which are important in defining the historic character. There are examples of houses more prominently with dirt driveways, or especially two-track driveways where the 2 tracks are paved, where it might be more important to keep that historic feature, but I don't see it in this setting. And for paved areas from the Ann Arbor Historic District Design Guidelines, it's appropriate to install new parking areas which are compatible with the scale, proportion of yard area, and characteristics of the historic district behind buildings. These shall be reviewed on a case-by-case basis, which is what you are all doing now. So that concludes staff's report. I do recommend approval of the application. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Thatcher. Now we'll get the review committee report.
Yeah, not too much to add. It's a very hidden, narrow driveway surrounded by very tall buildings and trees. The backyard smelled like Indian food from Namaste. Maybe you're really hungry.
Yeah. Okay. Anything to add to that?
No, not
Okay.
really. It's a driveway. There's nothing historic on it at the moment, so.
Right.
seemed pretty easy.
Yes. Very good. Thank you. So now would the applicant please step forward? Thank you. You know the drill, I guess. So.
Brad Moore, same address. Again, very thorough staff report. Jill is right that top portions of the soils here are densely compacted, and one of the things that will benefit the city tremendously from the completion of this paving is it'll stop a river of sediment that goes down this driveway and out into the gutter curb at William Street, and then goes down into the storm sewer and into the Huron River. So I think that there's a tremendous benefit to the city as a whole by reducing the sediment going into the river. I don't have much else to add. You wouldn't want to try to get a big vehicle back there, but obviously the ones that are back there can navigate the narrow driveway.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Are there any questions for the applicant? Very good. Thank you, Brad. Okay, so now we'll open the public hearing for this item. This is an opportunity for persons to speak for up to 3 minutes about this application at 332 East William. So no one approaching the podium, no one online, or is there? No, very good. Okay, so the public hearing is now closed, and I'll ask if there's a commissioner who would like to make a motion on this item.
Sure. I move that the commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the application at 332 East William Street, a contributing property in the East William Historic District, for new work and work already begun to pave a driveway and rear parking area with concrete. As proposed, the work is compatible in exterior design, arrangement, texture, material, and relationship to the rest of the building and the surrounding area, and meets the Secretary of the Interior's standards for rehabilitation and guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings, in particular, standards 1, 2, 5, 9, and 10, and the guidelines for district or neighborhood setting and masonry, as well as the Ann Arbor Historic District design guidelines for landscape features.
Second.
Great. That was moved by Commissioner Kaplan, seconded by Commissioner Nisbet. I'm guessing there's not going to be much conversation here. It's basically like a one-for-one swap, like gravel to, or crushed limestone, whatever it is, to concrete. I'm not, if there's a comment, let's hear it, but
Okay,
yes.
I can't.
Right, a landscape
Yeah,
architect, let's hear it.
All I want to say is
Yes.
that looking at the spot elevations, it's a very gentle slope. So just making sure that there will be positive drainage. That's the only thing I want to note here.
I think that the good news, I mean, the bad news is that it's going to site plan. So the good news, it's the bad news is they're going to have to deal with all of that and all the drainage and landscape, like there's a lot to do there. So I think it's a great comment, and thankfully it will be taken care of.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Let's go to a vote. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed, say no. The application has been approved. Thank you very much. Okay, we've got one more hearing tonight.
Just make a point. I've appeared, my name is,
Can you come up to the podium?
my name is Jeffrey Gallant, and I'm the owner of the building. And I've appeared in front of the committee. You've changed because I've gotten old, and it seems that a number of people have changed. But I always appreciate your consideration and your help, and especially Jill, and I really mean that. She's been an extreme help to me all these years. I stopped doing it myself, and I hired somebody who's far better than me to help. But I appreciate it because I'm just trying to improve the building. Over the years, I've owned the building for, I think about 55 years, something like that. And I've slowly been trying to do it over and over and over and make it better, better, and better. So thank you for helping me to make it better. That's all I wanted to say.
Great, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we'll move on. It's the last hearing, like I said, F5. Thank you for bearing with us if you are F5. But we'll get to you right now. It's 813 East Ann Street. So I'll hand it over to the staff.
Yep, this is 813 East Ann Street, a gable fronter with a concrete foundation and an asphalt shingle roof. The house first appears on the 1908 Sanborn map, and it has 3 sections that kind of step down as 2-story portion with a full width front porch fronting Ann Street, and then behind that a 1.5-story portion, and then behind that a 1-story section in the rear. And they're each kind of inset from the one before. And it first appears as the residence of a C. Donnelly in 1894. And if you're looking far back enough before 1898, the house was addressed as 73 East Ann Street. These 3 sections of the house that are shown on that Sanborn are still distinct, but the roofs have been raised in the rear to accommodate a full 2nd story. The house primarily has 6/1 windows. Most appear to be original. And at some point, the porch was enclosed and that roof shape was changed to a gable that matches the pitch of the house's gable roof, and then the house was wrapped in non-original siding. It is located on the east side of Ann Street, between Thayer and Ingalls, and it is an application for HDC approval to add a basement egress window near the front of the house on the east elevation. So this is the front of the house looking from Ann Street, and you can start to see these basement windows down here. Another view from the other side of Ann Street, or the other side of the house on Ann Street. That's the other side. That would be the west elevation. So you can see close to the lot line, close to the house next to it. And then we have some more room on this side, which is why we're looking at egress wells. So the one that we're talking about is this one here, but I will note that they have already received staff approval for 3 egress windows at the back of the house. So two farther back near here on the east elevation, and then 1 at the rear. So you will see those on the drawings, but we're just looking at this one right here that's closest to the front. So another view. And then that's what it looks like now. There's no existing window there. It's been boarded up. And the proposed egress window would match the width and then just go down. Can see all those windows. Eventually, some of those back ones will be egress from the staff approval. And then here you are, site plan. So we're looking about right here. You can see the wells that have already been approved are outlined here, but then the one we're looking at is right here. So you can see a floor plan. Again, this is the one that we're looking at. This is the existing basement. And then proposed, you can see the well. So it is to accommodate a 6th bedroom, which is the maximum allowed by zoning code. It has 2 units. You can see house 1 and house 2. And then having this extra basement egress window would add a 6th bedroom to the first unit, house 1. They are doing some interior work on the upper floor, so you can see some new walls moving around, but nothing changing on the exterior. Then you can see the 2nd story. And then elevation, existing, well, I guess not necessarily existing east, but east elevation, and then this is the window that would be, again, no window there, but new egress. Just a section of the house if you're interested. Some details which are also included in the application. Front of the house. Back of the house, this is one of the egress wells that has already been approved. And then you can see where they would be along this side. All right, a lot of photos. Here's kind of a rendering of what it would look like. Rear. All right, we've already read 1, 9, and 10, and Jill has probably read you all of these ones, but I am just gonna do a few more for windows. From the Secretary of the Interior, it is recommended to design exterior additions or adjacent new construction that is compatible with the historic character of the site. Recommended to identify, retain, and preserve buildings and their features that define overall historic character. Not recommended to introduce new construction onto the site that is visually incompatible or destroys historic relationships. Not recommended to remove or radically change buildings and their features that are important in defining overall historic character. For windows, it is recommended to design and install additional windows on the rear or other non-character defining elevations if required by a new use. Also recommended to protect and maintain wood and architectural metal which comprise the window. Not recommended to introduce a new design that is not compatible with the historic character. For health and safety, it's recommended to identify the character-defining features of a building so that code-required work does not result in their loss or damage. Recommended to comply with health and safety codes. And not recommended to alter, damage, or destroy character-defining features to comply with safety codes. A couple from the Ann Arbor Historic District Design Guidelines: appropriate to retain and maintain windows in good condition. Not appropriate to change the number, location, and size or glazing pattern of windows. Safety codes: appropriate to comply with barrier-free and safety codes in a manner that ensures the preservation of character-defining features. And that's it. All right. I'll say a few more things when I look at my notes, but I'll just go back to one of the photos. All right, new egress well will match the existing width, which is 32 inches, no existing window there. And then there'll be a well. It'll be 13 feet and 3 inches back from the front of that enclosed porch. Would add a 6th bedroom to the basement of the dwelling unit. You know that there's already some that have been staff approved, but this one is close enough to the front that it needs to be approved by the commission. And because of those already approved basement egress windows and the interior configuration, there are limited possible locations for another basement egress window and well. Egress windows, basement egress wells are often necessary in historic buildings to meet contemporary building codes, and though this proposed window will be close to the right-of-way, the materials and dimensions are appropriate, though I will just note that this would mean, if approved, there would be 3 of 4 windows on this east elevation that would be egress windows with wells. There is also this window here, this window opening that's a little bit farther back that could possibly be made into a well. It would be farther back, but it would still be 3 out of 4 windows on one elevation with wells, and it would require some reconfiguration of the basement floor plan. So not sure how possible that is, but it was just a note. And that's all for me. Thanks.
Thank you, Mariana. Now we'll get to the review committee report, please.
Outside of what was already said, that was very complete. I would just say that while not as narrow as the channel between this house on the other side, which was maybe 4 or 5 feet, this is the driveway side, but the proximity of the house next door sort of keeps all of this wall somewhat obscure from the street. It doesn't seem like it jumps out to me from a sidewalk, passersby or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
Okay.
Nothing more to add.
All right, thank you. So now we'll get the applicant report, please. So if the applicant is here, or are they on Zoom? They're here. Great. Approach the podium. Thank you. Just state your name and address for the record, and let us know any comments. Thank you.
Hi. It's been a
Oh, yeah.
good meeting so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
Scott Clausen for 813 East Ann Street. Thanks, Mariana, for the report. Very, very detailed, thorough. I think everything was said in the report. I feel that because of how the lot's narrow, that it's really not seen.
Yeah.
And I do not feel it'll impact the character of the house. So
Thank you. Can you just explain why that window? And we're looking at the basement floor plan, and obviously not all of the information is there. We're just seeing walls, doors, windows, et cetera. Is there a a specific reason why that next window down, if you just move the wall, it looks like you can just move the wall over and choose the further away from the sidewalk window, but can you explain, or if you can do that, great, let's do that, but if not, can you explain, is there a reason?
If we do that, it does make a very kind of awkward shaped room. It's possible, but again, it makes an awkward shaped room. This window is already missing too
Okay.
in the front, so that was kind of another determining factor.
Yeah, fair enough. Thank you for that. Any other questions for Scott? Okay, looks like we're good for now. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah. Okay, so now we'll move to the public comment. This is an opportunity for members of the public to speak to the Historic District Commission. So this item is 813 East Ann Street. There's no one approaching the podium. Do we have anyone online? No. Okay, so let's close the public comment. And we will I will ask, is there a commission who would like to make a motion?
I can.
Great.
I move that the commission issue a certificate of appropriateness for the application at 813 East Ann Street, contributing property in the old Fourth Ward Historic District, to construct a new egress window and well on the east elevation near front of the house. The work is compatible in exterior design, arrangement, texture, material, and relationship to the rest of the building and the surrounding area, and meets the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation and guidelines for rehabilitating historic buildings, in particular standards 1, 9, and 10, and the guidelines for building site, windows, and health and safety, as well as the Ann Arbor Historic District design guidelines for windows and safety codes.
Second.
Great. So that was moved by Commissioner Carter, seconded by Commissioner Kaplan. And so now I'm wondering if there's any discussion on the motion, kind of a similar application, but we do this on a case-by-case basis, so there's different factors to consider. Does anyone have a comment here for or against?
I have a comment, or maybe it's more of a question for
Yeah.
the applicant, so this, I apologize to the applicant. So
Scott, we might need you again here.
Yeah. So I'm looking at page 17 of the staff report. I just want to make sure. So it looks like there's kind of a rendering showing the proposed, or not like at the location that we're looking at, but it's showing kind of a rendering of like, hey, this is what these windows would look like as installed. But it shows a window kind of like poking up into the kind of like last course of siding at the bottom of the wall. So it's not showing the window kind of fitting inside of the opening. And I don't know if that's just the nature of the rendering or if that's like what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's kind of the nature of the AI.
Okay, I
used
got
to
you.
generate it. It'll definitely be below the siding.
Okay.
And it seems in the picture it's higher than it'll actually, it'll be. Like the trim, all that'll be below the siding. It will not go into the siding, and actually the well will be a little bit lower too.
Okay. And I think we asked that the windows be installed in like the same plane as like the historic window would have been in. Like it looks kind of out toward the exterior, right? It'll be, got it.
It's slightly distorted.
Yep.
It'll be within the stone.
Yes, good. Okay. I mean, it was good enough to have a discussion about, but it needed a few helpful comments, so we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks for bringing that up.
Okay.
I think we're probably good with questions for Scott, or any other while we got him here? Okay. Thanks again. Stay close. We might need you, but, okay, so hearing that, what do we feel? Anyone want to make the case that this is just not appropriate because it's too close? I did like to hear from the applicant that there was, I mean, it's not nothing that there's an existing window in that other window that could have been used. I appreciate that. Okay. Well, hearing no conversation, let's just go to a vote. All those in favor of the motion, please say yes.
Yes.
Yes. All those opposed, say no. Okay, your application has been approved. Thanks a lot. Okay. So we got through the hearings. So take a deep breath. We'll move on to new business. And there is, what is this? Staff approvals, right? There's a staff approval that's being proposed? Yeah.
Do y'all want to talk about that tonight, or would you like to save it for next month? Because we've got a working session after this, and there's nothing pressing with this staff approvals memo.
Next month sounds great.
Yeah, let's,
Okay.
what a great idea.
It's all written, so it's just that you can look at it.
Anything future that you just want to move to next month too, we're okay with that. So let's move that to next month.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll move on to minutes. And I didn't see any minutes sent out. Were there minutes and I just didn't catch them, or? No, they weren't sent out, but when I checked, anyway, did anyone see the minutes?
Yeah, they're not listed on the agenda, so I don't think you got them.
Okay, all right, that makes sense. So we'll look forward to seeing that next month, sent from Brittany and the city. And of course, we appreciate all the work behind the scenes by city staff, and it's greatly appreciated, so thank you all. Is there a report from Commissioner? Was there a meeting for the, was there an awards meeting?
Yeah, there was an awards meeting. There was
Yeah.
a band tour.
Well, can you tell us a little bit about the
Sure.
awards meeting?
Sure, we drove around to maybe 15 or so sites and
Okay.
knocked a few of them off of the list. And it's going to be a fairly compact awards presentation, but it will probably take place in July, July 20.
Okay, fun.
Yeah, and there will be a party to follow, probably at the Tyler's house again. And there are some great candidates. And it was fun.
And did you go as well?
Yes, I was a part of the 3-hour tour.
Okay, that's so exciting.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really great to see. I drove down some streets I've actually never driven
Right,
down.
I bet, yeah.
That was exciting, and it was fun to appreciate what's been done.
Yeah.
Standout was the Jones School sign, historical sign. That was pretty cool to see.
Okay.
In addition to some very beautiful and well-maintained homes. And we had donuts from DJ's Donuts, which feels important to recount. That was afterwards.
Great. Okay, thanks for that report. We'll move on to assignments, and we'll have the Thursday meeting will be June 11th, and the review committee, it's at 5 p.m. on the Monday there, June 8th. So if you are going to be at the meeting and you'd like to volunteer.
Let's see if anybody else wants to. I love that you two are so eager.
Guys are, yeah.
Since you've had the last two, we'll just open it up.
I wonder if anyone's available.
If they're not, it's all yours.
I can't do the 5 o'clocks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no.
It's got to be September, then I'm going to be all over it. But, yeah.
All right.
Great.
It's all yours.
Thank you both for volunteering. It's much appreciated. Are there any reports from staff this month?
There are not.
Very good. I had a feeling. And what about concerns of commissioners? Any concerns that you'd like to express specific to the Historic District Commission? Okay, very good. Are there communications?
Nope.
There were no communications. So in that case, the meeting, May 14th HDC meeting is adjourned at 9:23 p.m.
Yay.
Thank you all.